Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, Business Innovators Radio listeners. This is Andy Curry, your host today, and I am excited to bring to you Richard Paul, who has been speaking professionally for an astounding 25 years. And Paul speaks on various topics, one of which is stress reduction, another is customer service, in fact, high-quality customer service, and bully prevention. I'm really interested in those topics, and we'll talk more about those here shortly. Richard speaks in the U.S. primarily, but has also spoken internationally in places like Japan and Canada. Richard is based out of Michigan, and he's co-authored a book called The Better Bottom Line. And he also has an audio book called 7 Lessons on How to Improve Your Life, which I'd like to hear more about that here shortly. So, Richard, welcome to the program.
Hey, it's good to be here.
We're glad to have you. Now, you're traveling, and so we've got you on your mobile phone, so we appreciate you taking the time to hook up with us.
Hey, not a problem at all. It's always fun to share ideas.
You bet. Now, Richard, tell us about your speaking business. What goes on in the life of Richard when you're speaking?
Well, I do a lot of traveling like I'm doing now. Traveling from a presentation. And I travel, as you said, all over the United States and part of Canada. I've been in Tokyo. It's been a lot of fun. I speak on stress reduction. My big thing is how humor can reduce stress, and how they implement the proper humor to reduce stress. And in addition, I do training sessions and workshops on how to, techniques on how to reduce stress. And then I'm really excited. Over the last few years, I've been doing a customer service program that is really promoting high quality customer service, similar to what you would get if you went to a Disney park, that kind of thing, and how I'm trying to really teach my audience members how to really create that kind of welcoming, memorable moments for their businesses or for their customers that come to their businesses, or I've even had people that have hired me where they put on events and how can we better our customer service and create memorable moments. So I've done that. And then also I speak on bully prevention because in the academic world, I do a lot of speaking to school administrators, staff, as well as parents on bully prevention. In my stress reduction world, in my customer service world, of course, that would be businesses. And I've done a few fast food chains where they brought me in to speak to their employees, to get them to be a little more friendly, a little more welcoming, and that has been a lot of fun speaking to them. It's a whole new avenue and having a great time.
I'll bet. Now, I'm really interested in to hear your humor to reduce stress, because what a huge topic that is for not just the world, America, but definitely the world. So what is your number one? Give us a tip on how to reduce stress with humor.
Well, laughter. Laughter it's an instant way to reduce your stress. Like I say in my speech, if you're laughing, what's happening is you're sucking in oxygen into your lungs, and the brain loves oxygen, and the brain instantly relaxes, and it's just an awesome thing. And I goof around and tell them all those years people were going in their car to smoke pot when they should have been just laughing because they're relaxed. We have a good time, we have a good chuckle over that, but it's the truth. There's been studies proven how laughter is the best medicine. And one of the things it does is an instant relax to the brain, which relaxes the muscles, which relaxes the blood flow, which relaxes your, if you have a high blood pressure, it's one additive you can do to reduce your high blood pressure as well. And the University of Maryland has study after study on how this actually works. And it's always amazed me. And I've always been a laugher, always been a person who likes to be funny and get people to laugh and get myself to laugh. And you know, some people say, like, my whole family, they're all on blood pressure medication. I'm 58, I'm not, and I think there's something to do with that. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to, you know, diagnose myself, but I think there's something to do with it.
Oh, I think, you know, like you say, laughter is the best medicine, and stress, as I understand it, releases a certain chemical out of your brain that is hard on your body, and laughter certainly does the same thing, and you just feel better, no doubt.
Oh yeah, and another thing that I teach my audiences too is if you're not in a situation to laugh, force a smile, because it's been proven that even a smile tricks the brain to relax, and it's pretty amazing. And when I first read about that, I tried it. I was in a real stressful situation in the car, and I had a client with me, and I couldn't, you know, get upset and everything. And I couldn't laugh like a hyena. We would have thought I was crazy. So I put on a big smile on my face, and it was just amazing how, you know, I relaxed. I was able to talk to the client next to me in the car, and we were relaxed. And it's amazing how some of this stuff really works. I mean, it's just very simple, practical things that I share that if people can implement them, they can really add some years on to their lives.
Now, is that one of your most requested topics?
Yeah, I have a program called Lighten Up and Laugh, and that is one of my biggest requested, because I get a lot of conferences that will want me as their opening or their closing speaker. And they go, we just want to laugh. Just but we still need information, but we want to laugh. And that program gives them information, gives them tips and things, you know, takeaways, but they're going to be laughing throughout the whole thing. You know, from a little stand-up routines that I do to, I'm even a ventriloquist. So I actually bring somebody up at the end of that program to, you know, turn them into a singing individual with me, and we do a duet, and the people are just laughing their heads off, and we have a great time.
You know, I spoke to a speaker a while back, and you know, mostly what he does is stand-up, but he's also a speaker with some messages. And one of the funniest things I ever heard somebody says is he's written a book called Ventriloquism for Dummies.
Look up who that guy was now.
That was a great line. But
yeah, it is.
So have you done stand-up? Is that part of how you've kind of gotten to where you are now, or?
Yeah, let me just say this. I'll go back in my life, way back. I taught myself ventriloquism in 5th grade. I had rheumatic fever. I was bored, and so I taught myself ventriloquism. I watched the Jimmy Nelson and Paul Winchell and the greats back then. If anybody's listening to remember those guys, and I've had the opportunity to meet those guys too, which is really cool.
Awesome.
But I used them and I learned from them, and I used to do shows in my parents' garage, and I charged 10 cents to get in and 25 cents to get out. So I made lots of money, but it also got me to get up in front of people. Every Tuesday I'd be up in front of somebody. And then in school I took any speech class I could take. And so as I got older, I met some stand-up comics along the way, and a good friend of mine by the name of Gary Tyson, he helped write some material for me. He's just an outstanding stand-up comic. He's written for Tim Allen and a few other people too. And he just, he got me, he said, man, you got to get in, you got to do some stand-up with me. And I started doing some MC work, what they call, where you're that opening act for all the other acts. Right. And then I made my way up to a middle. And then I just got into the speaking thing, and I walked away from it. But during the time that was in the late 80s, early 90s when I did it, it was lots of fun. It was cool hanging out with some of the comedians, some of which are, you know, television stars now. I see them, and we had a lot of laughs, and I learned a lot from doing it.
Who's one of them that's a television star that we'd recognize?
Dave Coulier.
Dave who?
Dave Coulier, the guy that used to be on Full House. He's one of the guys from Full House. Yeah, very nice guy. Very nice guy.
Awesome. Well, you've had a fun life, and it sounds like it just keeps getting better.
Oh, yeah. It is. A lot of fun.
Well, Tell me about the bully prevention. Are you passionate about that?
Very much so. I was born with a birth defect, and my right arm missing 3 fingers and a shorter arm. And growing up, I had my, my bullies in my life, if you will.
I think everybody has.
Sorry?
I think everybody has.
Yeah, we all do. And I don't want to use that as a crutch, but, that's what they use to make fun of it. And so I always wanted to do something, so I first put together just one for school children, middle schoolers, high schoolers, that kind of thing. And then I've been asked to do these conferences. I did a conference in Vegas. I did a conference in, the other one was in Chicago. And from that, it's kind of spawned off into speaking to administrators, speaking to teachers. They have these in-services. I come in and just before school opens, they have me come in and do a 3-hour training on bully prevention. And it's been a lot of, even though it's a serious topic, we still have a lot of fun too. But I'm really able to get offer up some awesome techniques on how to not only teach the target of a bully, what they can do, but also work on I don't like to use the term bully. I like to use the term aggressive, a student with aggressive behavior. Because when you label somebody, then they're always like that. Right. So we talk about ideas and things you can do to get this kid to see that this is aggressive behavior and you need to change this behavior. And if you don't, this will happen to you, Well, and I studied with, there's bully-free schools, it's called. And I'm a certified trainer through them, and they've allowed me to use some of their material as well as part of my program. And it's really awesome, real awesome stuff. It changes the old thinking of what we need to do with these bullies and put them in detention or send them home, suspend them. And we have different ways that schools can implement things that they can implement. Excuse me. To teach these kids to change their behavior versus just go home and watch TV and then come back to school and do it again. And a lot of the schools I've been working with on, if we do a short training or long-term training, the long-term is better because then you can keep it going, but short-term is better than nothing. And hopefully when we walk away, the schools are implementing what we teach them, and the teachers and parents also all climb on board.
Now, as far as a technique for someone who's getting picked on at that very moment, you said you had a technique for the person who's the bully is going after. What's your number one technique to defuse it?
Believe it or not, I used to say, tell them stop it now, and we learned that doesn't work. Even though we still tell the kids to do it, the reason we tell them to do it is so they're loud enough so somebody can hear them, and they can tell somebody. Someone will walk up, what's going on? But laughter is one of the best things. If you can get this person laughing, you can get out of the situation, get out of it, and then hopefully, we tell them to report it. And I use an example when I was being teased by a kid, telling me I had 2 fingers. And I was with my buddies, we were playing basketball, and this kid was in my face. You got 2 fingers, Mm-hmm. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? That's weird. Because when I started playing basketball, I had 10 fingers. And somehow the 3 are missing. And I don't know where they're at. You got to help me find it. I did this whole thing, I acted it out. And the teacher that was out there was laughing her head off. My buddies were on the ground laughing. And this kid just ran away. He couldn't deal with it. And so way back then, I didn't know that I learned the technique, but that is one of the greatest techniques. But the technique, when you use it, we remind the teachers and the parents, tell their kids to make sure there's an adult present. Because if it does backfire, you've got somebody there to help you right away.
Yeah.
And then this teacher can hear, like this teacher knew that there was something up because I was loud enough, and that's how we teach them.
That's a great technique, and I I had some bullying going on in my life, and those would have been really useful. But I think almost everyone's had some kind of bullying going on, and it's an unfortunate part of your life's journey. But having those techniques is a good thing to do. So I applaud you for doing that.
Well, I was in Mississippi speaking to police and safety personnel that work in schools all around Mississippi. It was a big conference, a day schools conference it was, and they had me do this training. I did a 2-hour training, and this one, he was a retired police officer, and he raised his hand, and he said, I was bullied 45 years ago in school, and he remembered, he remembered the bully, he remembered everything. This guy got up and told the story, and he had tears in his eyes, and it was just so moving. So here you had this police officer, former police officer, that still is volunteering in schools, and he felt the pain, and he wanted to learn what he could teach kids. And that was just pretty amazing. It was just a moving moment for everyone in that room.
And 45 years later.
Yeah, exactly. He knew exactly, and that's where we discussed that. This stuff is with you. I can remember mine. You can remember yours, like you said.
Sure.
You probably remember the person's name.
Oh, absolutely.
But the funny thing is the bully doesn't remember a thing. I remember confronting my bully, and he had no clue what I was talking about.
No kidding.
And I felt so foolish because I held on to it so long, and this guy had no clue. His life went on.
Is that part of your talk?
Oh, yeah. And it's so funny how I'll get others, they'll raise their hand and say, I went to my class reunion, and I told them. And she had no clue either, and they all have these stories, and it's really, really interesting, And then we all share, and then we laugh, and how could we have changed it? How can we change it with our kids?
Right. Well, I understand your passion for that, and I study a lot of self-help items and books and tapes and such. And one of my favorite sayings from Napoleon Hill is, an adversity has an equal seed of opportunity. And basically, the higher the adversity, the higher the opportunity in it somehow. And although your adversity was very emotional for you at the time, you've come out of it with being able to help people. It's got to feel wonderful to help people with it. You're making a living from it, and there's the opportunity out of the adversity.
Oh yeah, it feels so good. And when I do speak to the middle schoolers or the high schools, but especially middle schoolers, once in a while, I was up in Traverse City, Michigan, speaking to a middle schooler school, and when I came in to do the program at the school, the principal says to me, I don't know why you're here. There's no bullying going on in my school. I know that because I don't see it.
Yeah, right.
And I just said, well, they hired me. He goes, she was a new principal, and they hired me the year before, so they brought me in. And so when I finished the program, she's standing to the side, and these 3 boys come up to me. And one of them, he says, I want to thank you, Mr. Paul. He says, I get bullied every day, and I didn't know what to do. And you gave me 3 techniques of what to do, and I'm going to do all 3 of them. And I said, well, good for you. And then the 2 other boys said, we get bullied too. And they go, can we hug you? And they gave me this hug. And I look over to the principal. He's looking at me, and I go, see, you do have a problem. And she just gave me this dirty look. Never did that school again, but you know what? It felt good to let her know that she was wrong. Just because you don't see it. The bullying is different than conflict. Conflict you see, bullying you don't. Bullying can take place in less than 4 seconds, right in front of you, and you don't know what's going on. And that's where so many people confuse it. So when I do the program, I explain the difference with hopes that they understand that bullying is not conflict.
Interesting. Well, Richard, how can people get a hold of you should they want you to do some speaking?
Well, they can visit my website. I have 2 of them. If they're looking for the academic, it's my name, richardpaul.com. If they're looking for my stress reduction speeches or customer service, they can go to humorreducesstress.com. Again, it's humorreducesstress.com, all one word.
Okay. And can they call you, or do you want them to go to the website first?
No, they can call me at my 800 number, and it's 800-579-8053. And I hope I'm remembering it right. Wouldn't that be terrible? Let me give you my regular line in case I'm not. I'm in the car and I get to further in. My regular line is 586-226-1820. That's my office line. Okay,
and what about an email?
You can email easy. I'll make it easy for him. Rick Paul, RICKPAUL 57 @gmail.com.
Okay, and I'm on your website, and the 800 number I see is 800-579-8051.
That's it. Did I say it right?
You said 8053, so by golly, you were close.
Yeah, it's close. 8051, folks. Remember that.
Okay. Give your email one more time.
It's Rick Paul, RICKPAUL 57 @gmail.com.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you so much for giving us some insight into your business, pulling back the curtain and showing us what's going on. I can tell you're passionate about it and you love it. And I say bully, well, no pun intended, but bully for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So there's your humor for reducing your stress for the day.
Yeah, and I'm in the middle of a traffic jam, so it worked.
Okay, well, thank you again, Richard, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.